Wall Street today, but it was a very volatile week for your money. Of course, the volatility began after the Federal Reserve, the FOMC, they cut rates, which Wall Street wanted, but then they changed their mind about a whole lot of things, and Wall Street went haywire. I want to bring in one of the key members of the Federal Reserve, Austan Goolsbee, Chicago Federal Reserve Bank president. I read a headline earlier today, Austin, that it says policy uncertainty had you shift your thoughts on rate cuts. Is that fiscal policy they're talking about?
Well, A, it's great to see you again, Charles. It was policy uncertainty and uncertainty over inflation and a lot of geopolitical events. All of those things were why I said I shifted how steep the curve would be, how fast we would reduce the rates. But I've been wanting to emphasize, I don't think the destination has really changed. I think over the next 12 to 18 months, rates can stand to come down a fair amount. You actually used the term judicious amount. Although the Fed went from 4 rate cuts in their prior projections to just 2 rate cuts, is 2 rate cuts judicial, or are you out of step with your colleagues here? No, look, judicious, it means it's going to be determined by conditions. There's a lot of question marks. You know that. We see around, we're reminded by these geopolitical events like what's happened in Germany. There's a lot of uncertainty when the new president comes in. What is he going to propose? What is he going to pass? All of those things we'll sort out. But if the rate cuts were in the second half of 2025 or the first half of 2026, to me, that's not the big story. The big story is over the last year and a half, inflation is way down, and we didn't have a recession that a lot of the prognosticators said was coming. And I think that if we can capitalize on we've now had an uptick in business confidence since the election, and if we can maintain a growth rate with inflation still coming down, then that's how you get on the path for rates to go faster. So let me pick up on that. We haven't had an official recession, but here's my concern about where the Federal Reserve is in policy. When you keep these interest rates are higher for longer, money markets, we've seen trillions of dollars going to money markets. Hundreds of billions of dollars are being paid out. The wealthiest folks out there get this money. They spend it. We learned that last year the top 20% did 44% of the spending. The top 40% did 70% of the spending. They've got money. They've got assets. But there's 60% of this nation, I think they're in a recession. I think in November when they went to vote that they said to the world, we're starving, we're hurting. So Fed policy is restrictive to a majority of this nation. How do you square that circle? Because I understand the intent, but if the real problem feels like unless really rich people start to suffer, everyone else's credit card rates are going to keep going up from 15% to 22% to 23%. Well, look, Charles, you're right to be thinking about the whole economy. The law gives the Fed a very specific mandate to maximize employment and stabilize prices. And we really only have the one tool of rates to do that. So there are some subtleties that they have to be done by fiscal policy. The Fed can't do that. On rates, I think that if we keep performing decently well in terms of growth, as the new administration comes in and inflation keeps coming down, the rates can come down. I mean, it sounds like your view is if rates are too high for too long, that's going to hurt a lot of people. And I do think that that's right. You know, if we're too restrictive too long, it is going to hurt people. And so I think the key of getting us back down to 2% inflation, as was the goal, is the thing that's going to allow us to cut rates. I don't have a lot of time, just about less than a minute, but the confidence that Jay Powell exuded about the labor market does not fit what I'm seeing from how hard it is to find a job, that's plunging, from job postings on Indeed, from the rate of the JOLTS reports, those kind of things. Are you as confident as Jay Powell is about our labor market? I don't know. The rules forbid me from talking about what anybody else thinks on there. I can just talk about me. I have concerns about the labor market, but I do feel like the last 3 or 4 months we have kind of stabilized
Right.
at something like full employment. So I do find that encouraging. Layoffs, there's still not a lot of evidence of an increase in layoffs.
Yeah, the problem is going to be on rehiring, not layoffs. Austan, always a pleasure. Thank you so much, my friend.
That's fair.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.